We are truly blessed to be living in the summer of 2023, where it feels like I am consistently thanking the movie gods for blessing us with quality movies to see in theaters. Oppenheimer is Christopher Nolan's latest film, one of the most anticipated of the year by me and so many other people, specifically paired with Barbie, which I did see the night before. And so if you're one of those people that got to watch both in a single day, comment below. I want to know the order in which you saw it and if you think that was a good idea. Because there's part of me that kind of wants to go watch Barbie after sitting through this for 3 hours. But don't worry, it was a good 3 hours, and I genuinely loved this film. But it's quite the drive home, having spent 3 hours with this character agonizing over the destruction that he has caused for so many people. Oppenheimer is a very infamous figure within history, especially depending on how the story is told to you. Known as the creator of a weapon, this bomb that destroys hundreds of thousands of lives. It's a heavy story to tell. Admittingly, I didn't really know a lot of the lore of Oppenheimer, and I could have done a much better job brushing up on history before seeing this film. But on the other hand, there were parts of this plot that were genuinely surprising to me that I didn't actually know, or if I did know before, I didn't remember. And so I'd also be curious for the people who did know a lot about this person and this story. Not necessarily how accurate you thought it was, but more so what was your experience watching this on film, having already known a lot of the major plot elements. But one of the creative things that Christopher Nolan does in this film is he has kind of two sequences, one in color and the other in black and white. According to him, the black and white is more objective to what actually happened, and then the colored version is subjective to Oppenheimer's experience. It's a pretty cool artistic tool, and it was kind of interesting how he just flat out said that before the movie even came out. Because usually I don't take Christopher Nolan to be the most artistic type, especially with visual storytelling. And so it's just kind of funny that when he decides to do something like this, he does it while also spelling it out so nobody misunderstands what he's doing. But outside of that, there were also a lot of other visual elements to this that were not usually what we see in his movies. There's plenty of dreamlight sequences where you're not really trusting what you're seeing on screen. A lot of great visual representations of the feelings and emotions that Oppenheimer is feeling within his brain. These abstract designs within the stars with the beautiful score playing beneath it. It all works well, adding to the idea of what he is feeling throughout this entire story. And on top of all of that, the plot isn't even completely linear. It's jumping back and forth over the course of 2 to 3 decades. And while I believe I did my best to keep up with what was happening, I think a rewatch would really be beneficial to solidify what happened. So on a technical level, everything is masterfully done. Which isn't surprising, because without question, that's always Christopher Nolan's strongest asset to movie making. But the underlying tone and themes within this film, I think, are equally powerful, which don't always resonate with me in his other works. The normal issues I have with his other films, such as character development, aren't as much of an issue here. And in fact, I think the characters are some of the strongest parts of this movie. A lot of it is just people talking, whether in conference room, in front of chalkboards, and you really get a good sense of who Oppenheimer is and the people around him as well. Even the women in this film are actually developed characters, which you can't always say with his other movies. The major theme of this film is Oppenheimer dealing with the morality of what he is doing in creating this bomb, which is a pretty obvious lesson that I think we've all learned from history now, being decades and decades away from this event. But to see him in real time dealing with this weight and having that develop over time, it's quite powerful. I think there's a lot of parallels to any sort of creator, whether it be something like a bomb or less dangerous like a piece of art. The idea that once you create something, you're allowing the whole world to have access to that, and what people do with it after that point, it's out of your hands. And not out of your hands in the sense that you are completely innocent with what happens to it. But that's what Oppenheimer is trying to figure out. How much of the death and destruction is actually his responsibility, or did he just progress science where it was naturally going to go, and it just got into the wrong hands? I do genuinely think there's something there with the idea that the creation can leave the creator's hands and then get taken over by someone else. As far as the performances goes, there's really not anyone bad in this cast. Cillian Murphy is an all-star. I will be upset if he's not nominated for an Oscar. It's just cool to see him kind of get to this point after playing kind of a secondary character in so many Nolan films and other works. I know Peaky Blinders fans are rejoicing that he's finally getting his credit. But Robert Downey Jr., also great performance. And it's so fun because his performance is the type that I think after seeing him play the same character for over a decade, you're just so pleasantly surprised to see that he still has it in. But this cast is so deep. I'm talking, we have like Oscar winner Casey Affleck, Oscar winner Rami Malek, both of them having almost nothing to do in this film other than come up like 2 or 3 times with just a couple lines. So when you can have that type of talent as these side characters, you can trust that everyone is going to be bringing their all to this, and they do. Minor critique though, I don't know if you need to see this in IMAX. Because look, there's a lot of cool stuff with the bomb, but for the most part, it is just people talking. So I don't know if I would justify this as strongly as I would like Mission Impossible, where there's much more action to be seen on the big screen. But that's what Christopher Nolan wanted. So if you want to respect his wishes, go for it. Overall, this is just a great theater experience. It's the type of epic biopic that we don't really see as much nowadays. Like, this film would have fit great in the 90s or early 2000s, but it's made today and with the highest quality possible. I know it's 3 hours long, but honestly, you don't even really feel it, and every single scene of this film is engaging. You're gonna have a really solid time in the theater. So that is Oppenheimer. Have you seen it? What do you think? Comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you next time.